Forget Elon Musk, forget Jeff Bezos. They are merely playing in the sandbox. If you adjusted for inflation, Andrew Carnegie's empire would crush them both. At the peak of his power, he didn't just have wealth, he had dominion. He had enough cash to buy the entire United States government twice. But here is the mystery. He didn't start with a trust fund. He started in a rat-infested attic in Scotland, starving to death, earning $1 a week. So how did he do it? How did a 13-year-old immigrant with nothing but the clothes on his back become the man of steel? In the next few minutes, we are going to decode the ruthless blueprint he used to conquer America. We will see how he tricked the public with a circus elephant to defy physics. We will see how he created a vertical monopoly to destroy his competition. And we will witness the bloody night he hired a private army to massacre his own workers. This isn't just a history lesson. This is a masterclass in power and the terrible price you pay for it. He claimed he was the workers' friend.
The millionaire will be but a trustee for the poor, entrusted for a season with a part of the increased wealth of the community, but administering it for the community.
He wrote essays on peace, but to build the future, he had to break the present. He wanted to save the world, but he financed it with blood. Was he a saint or was he a monster? By the end of this video, you decide. This is the story of Andrew Carnegie. Dunfermline, Scotland, 1835. The Industrial Revolution is sweeping across Europe, but it doesn't bring gold to the Carnegie family. It brings ruin. Andrew's father is a handloom weaver. He is a proud man, an artist of fabric, but the machines are coming. Faster, cheaper, soulless. The machines take his father's job. They take the food from the table. Andrew watches his father come home day after day, broken. He watches his mother stitch shoes just to buy bread. The shame of poverty burns a hole in Andrew's chest that will never truly heal. He makes a silent vow. He will never be poor again. He will never be weak again. At age 13, the family gives up. They sell their last possessions for a one-way ticket to America. They aren't chasing a dream, they are fleeing a nightmare. They land in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. But this isn't the land of milk and honey. It is a city of soot and smoke. They call it hell with the lid off. Andrew's first job isn't building empires. It's changing bobbins in a cotton factory. 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. The noise is deafening. The air is thick with cotton dust that fills his young lungs. For this slavery, he earns $1.20 a week. Most men would have broken. Most men would have accepted their fate as a cog in the machine. But Andrew is different. He is watching. He realizes that in this new world, physical labor is a dead end. The real power isn't in the hands that work the machines, it's in the minds that own them. He claws his way out of the factory and into a telegraph office. He becomes a messenger boy. It seems small, but to Andrew, it is the internet of the 19th century. He memorizes the faces of the businessmen. He memorizes the streets, but most importantly, he listens to the Morse code tapping on the wire. He learns to translate the dots and dashes by ear. He is decoding the secrets of the American economy, one message at a time. And then he meets the man who will hand him the keys to the kingdom. Thomas Scott, the superintendent of the Pennsylvania Railroad. He is a titan of industry, a man who moves mountains with a signature. He walks into the telegraph office and sees something in the sharp-eyed Scottish boy. He hires Andrew as his personal secretary and telegrapher. This is the turning point. Andrew isn't just an employee anymore. He is the apprentice to power. Scott teaches him how to manage men. He teaches him how to cut costs. But most importantly, he teaches him about capital. One day, Scott offers Andrew a tip. There is an opportunity to buy 10 shares in a company called Adams Express. The cost is $500. It's a fortune. Andrew doesn't have it, but he remembers the hunger. He remembers his father's shame. His mother mortgages their small house. They bet everything on Andrew. A few months later, an envelope arrives. Andrew opens it and finds a check for $10, a dividend. He stares at it in shock. "I have made money without working," he whispers. "Here is the golden goose. The bobbin boy is dead. The capitalist is born." By age 30, Carnegie is rich. He has investments in oil, in trains, in bridges. He sees a fatal flaw in America. The country is growing too fast. The wooden bridges are rotting. The iron rails are snapping under the weight of heavier trains. America is built on weak bones. He travels to England and sees a demonstration that changes history. A man named Henry Bessemer has invented a machine, a massive pear-shaped cannon that blasts air into molten iron. It roars like a dragon, sparks fly everywhere. But when the liquid cools, it isn't iron anymore, it is steel, stronger than iron, cheaper than iron, and capable of bearing the weight of the future. Carnegie rushes back to America. Everyone tells him he is crazy. Steel is too expensive, they say. It's a luxury metal. But Carnegie sees what they don't. He sees a world of steel bridges, steel ships, steel skyscrapers. He takes all his eggs and puts them in one basket. He builds the largest steel plant the world has ever seen, right in the heart of Pittsburgh. He names it the Edgar Thomson Works, after the president of the railroad, a calculated move to flatter his biggest customer. The game is on. Carnegie doesn't just want to build steel, he wants to own the process. He realizes that if he buys the iron mines, he doesn't have to pay the mining companies. If he buys the ships and the railroads, he doesn't have to pay for shipping. He creates a vertical monopoly. He owns the earth the ore comes from, the ovens that cook it, and the trains that deliver it. His motto becomes an obsession. Watch the costs, and the profits will take care of themselves. But he needs a symbol. He needs to prove to the world that steel is safe. His target is the Mississippi River. He wants to build a bridge at St. Louis that defies physics. The Eads Bridge. It is the first major steel bridge in history. During construction, the public is terrified. They think it will collapse. So Carnegie pulls a master stroke of marketing. He knows a superstition of the time. People believed an elephant would never step onto an unstable structure. On opening day, he arranges a parade, and leading the charge is a massive elephant. As the beast walks calmly across the steel span, the crowd cheers. The fear evaporates. The orders flood in. The railroads rip up their iron tracks and replace them with Carnegie steel. The architects in Chicago and New York look at his beams and realize they can build higher than ever before. The skyscraper is born. Andrew Carnegie is literally building the skeleton of modern America. But as his wealth skyrockets, his soul begins to harden. The memory of his poverty makes him terrified of losing a single cent. He squeezes his workers. He demands 12-hour shifts in blistering heat. He pits his managers against each other. Break the records, he tells them. Produce more, faster, cheaper. He writes essays about the dignity of the working man. But in his factories, men are dying. They are burned by molten metal. They are crushed by machinery. And Andrew Carnegie, the man who wants to be a saint, turns a blind eye. He needs a villain to do his dirty work, and he finds the perfect executioner. Enter Henry Clay Frick, the king of coke. Frick is everything Carnegie is not. Carnegie wants to be loved. Frick doesn't care if he is hated. Carnegie is the diplomat. Frick is the hammer. They form a partnership that will dominate the world and destroy thousands of lives. In 1892, the union at the Homestead Steelworks demands better wages. Carnegie is in Scotland, hiding in his castle, playing the role of the benevolent lord. But he sends a message to Frick. We approve of anything you do. It is a green light for war. Frick builds a wall around the factory. He tops it with barbed wire. The workers call it Fort Frick. He locks the workers out. 3,800 men are left without a paycheck. They surround the plant, refusing to let scabs take their jobs. Frick escalates. He hires the Pinkerton Detective Agency, a private army of mercenaries. On the night of July 5th, 300 Pinkerton agents are towed up the river on barges. They are armed with Winchester rifles. As the barges approach the shore, the town sounds the alarm. Thousands of workers, women and children rush to the riverbank. Someone throws a rock, someone fires a gun, and then hell breaks loose. For 12 hours, a bloody battle rages. The workers use everything they have. They pour oil into the river and set it on fire. They roll a flaming train car at the barges. By the time the Pinkertons surrender, 9 workers are dead, 7 Pinkertons are killed. The news travels across the ocean. The world is horrified. Carnegie, the man who preached peace, has allowed a massacre on his watch. He writes to a friend, "This is the trial of my life, such a foolish step, contrary to all my ideals." But he doesn't fire Frick, not yet. He accepts the victory. The union is crushed, wages are slashed, profits soar, but the blood of Homestead stains his name forever. For the next 10 years, Carnegie is the richest man in America, but he is a pariah. He is haunted. He realizes that no amount of money can buy back his reputation. He remembers his own words. The man who dies rich dies disgraced. It is 1901. Andrew is 66 years old. He wants out. He wants to save his soul. The banker, J.P. Morgan, is looking to create the ultimate monopoly. He wants to buy Carnegie Steel. A meeting is arranged. Carnegie doesn't bring lawyers. He simply writes a number on a scrap of paper and hands it to Morgan's associate. $480 million. It is an unimaginable sum. It is more than the entire budget of the United States government. Morgan looks at the paper. He doesn't negotiate. He simply says, "I accept." Later, Morgan shakes his hand and says, "Mr. Carnegie, I want to congratulate you on being the richest man in the world." Andrew walks away. He has won the game of capitalism. But now, he begins a new game. The game of redemption. He spends the rest of his life frantically giving the money away. He doesn't just write checks, he builds institutions. He remembers the boy in Scotland who couldn't afford books, so he builds libraries. Not just one, he builds 2,509 libraries across the world. He builds Carnegie Hall for the arts. He creates universities. He sets up pension funds for the very workers he once exploited. He is in a race against death, trying to give away every dollar before he takes his last breath. He calls it the gospel of wealth. He argues that the wealthy have a moral obligation to act as trustees for the poor. Andrew Carnegie died in 1919. He had successfully given away $350 million, 90% of his fortune. Today, when you walk into a library, or listen to music in a grand hall, or cross a steel bridge, you are living in the world he built. He was a contradiction of the highest order. A ruthless tyrant who crushed the worker to build the future, and a generous saint who tried to save the world with the very money he squeezed from it. He proved that a starving boy from Scotland could own the world. But his life leaves us with a haunting question, a question that echoes from the bloody banks of Homestead. Is it better to be a good man or a great one? Because history suggests you rarely get to be both. My team and I have spent months tracking this legacy. Hit the like button and subscribe to join the inner circle. Your support fuels the hunt. Comment code below if you finish the journey. We'll see you in the next investigation.